It was a quiet night. The moon was high and the stars were bright. Anna sat on her bed with a book in her hands. The room was warm and the house was still. She could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Anna turned the page and smiled. She loved reading at night. "This is my favorite time," she thought. The house felt safe and everything was calm. But then something changed. A sound came from above. It was soft at first, like a whisper. Anna stopped reading and looked up. "What was that?" she said to herself. She waited, but the sound stopped. She tried to focus on her book again. But after a few minutes, the sound came back. This time it was louder. It was like a creak or a tap. It came from the ceiling. Anna put her book down and stood up. "Is there someone here?" she whispered. She walked to the door and looked into the hallway. The house was dark and quiet. The sound came again. It was not far. Anna looked at the ceiling. "It's from the attic," she thought. Her heart started to beat faster. The attic was an old place. It had boxes and old things, but no one ever went there at night. Why is there a sound now? Anna wondered. She walked back to her bed and sat down. She tried to think. "Maybe it's the wind," she said, but the windows were closed and the night was calm. Anna took a deep breath. "I need to check," she decided. But she did not want to go alone. She picked up her phone and called her brother, Tom. "Tom, are you awake?" she asked. "Yes, Anna. What's wrong?" Tom answered. "There's a sound in the attic. Can you come?" Tom laughed a little. "A sound? Maybe it's a mouse." "No, it's louder than a mouse," Anna said. "Please, come quickly." "All right, I'm coming," Tom replied. Anna sat on her bed, waiting for Tom. The sound came again. It was soft but clear. It was there in the attic. Anna looked at the ceiling and whispered, "What is it?" Tom arrived quickly. He opened Anna's door and smiled. "What's this about a sound in the attic?" he asked, teasing her. Anna pointed to the ceiling. "It's coming from up there." "Listen." They both stayed quiet for a moment. The house was still, but then they heard it, a faint tapping sound. Tom's smile faded. "Okay, that's strange," he admitted. Anna crossed her arms. "See? I told you, it's not a mouse." Tom nodded. "You're right. It's louder than that. Do you want to check it out?" Anna shook her head. "Not alone. Let's go together." Tom looked around the room. "Do you have a flashlight?" he asked. Anna opened a drawer and found one. She handed it to Tom. "Here," she said. "Let's be careful." The two of them walked out of Anna's room and into the hallway. The house felt colder now, and the shadows on the walls seemed bigger. "Are you scared?" Tom asked, trying to sound brave. "A little," Anna admitted. "But I want to know what's making that noise." They reached the attic door. It was an old wooden door at the end of the hallway. Tom touched the handle and looked at Anna. "Are you ready?" he asked. Anna took a deep breath and nodded. "Let's do it." Tom opened the door slowly. The hinges creaked and the sound echoed in the hallway. Inside, the attic stairs were dark and dusty. Anna held onto Tom's arm. "It's so quiet now," she whispered. Tom turned on the flashlight. The beam of light cut through the darkness. "Stay close," he said. They started climbing the stairs, step by step. The wooden steps creaked under their feet. Anna's heart was beating fast. Halfway up, the sound came again. It was louder this time, like something tapping on the floor above them. Anna stopped. "Did you hear that?" she asked. Tom nodded. "I did. Let's keep going." They reached the top of the stairs. Tom pointed the flashlight into the attic. It was full of old boxes, covered in dust and cobwebs. The air smelled old and heavy. Anna looked around. "I don't see anything," she said quietly. "Me neither," Tom replied, "but the sound is coming from here. Let's look closer." Tom moved the flashlight slowly around the attic. The beam of light touched old furniture, stacks of boxes, and hanging cobwebs. Everything was still. Anna stepped carefully behind him. "It's so dusty here," she said, covering her nose with her hand. "Yeah, no one comes up here," Tom replied. "But the sound is definitely here. Let's keep looking." The attic was quiet again. They walked toward a corner where some boxes were piled up. The floor creaked under their feet and the air felt colder. Tom stopped and pointed. "Do you see that?" he asked. Anna squinted. "What is it?" Tom moved closer and found an old clock on the floor. It was broken and covered in dust. "It's just a clock," he said. Anna frowned. "That's not making the sound," she said. "It's something else." The tapping noise came again, louder this time. It sounded like it was coming from the other side of the attic. Anna pointed. "Over there," Tom nodded. "Let's check it out." They walked to the far side of the attic. There was an old chair, a mirror, and a stack of wooden planks. The sound stopped as they got closer. Anna tilted her head. Why did it stop? Tom shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe we scared it?" Anna looked uneasy. "Scared what?" Tom laughed nervously. "I don't know, a bird? A squirrel?" Anna wasn't convinced. "I don't think so," she said. "It doesn't sound like an animal." Tom moved the flashlight to the corner. "Let's see what's here." He pushed the chair to the side and lifted the mirror. Behind it, there was nothing but a dusty wall. Anna sighed. "There's nothing here," she said. But as they stood there, the tapping started again. This time it was coming from behind them. Anna turned quickly. "It's moving," she said. Tom swung the flashlight around, but there was nothing there. "This doesn't make sense," he said. Anna felt a chill. "What if it's not just the wind?" she whispered. Tom tried to smile. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Maybe it's, I don't know, something falling?" Anna shook her head. "The sound moves." "It's not in one place." They stood in the middle of the attic, listening. The sound stopped again. The air felt heavy, and the silence was almost louder than the tapping. Anna looked at Tom. "What do we do now?" she asked. Tom paused. "We keep looking," he said. "We have to figure this out." Tom and Anna stood still, listening. The attic was silent again, but the air felt heavy. Anna rubbed her arms. "It's so cold up here," she said softly. Tom looked around. "Maybe the sound is coming from outside," he suggested. Anna frowned. "No, it's not outside. It's here. I'm sure of it." Tom nodded slowly. "Okay, let's check the other side of the attic." They walked to a pile of old furniture in the corner. Tom lifted a small table and looked underneath. "Nothing here," he said. Anna moved a box and peeked behind it. "It's just empty," she said. "I don't understand." Then the tapping noise started again. It was louder now, and it sounded like it was right behind them. Anna gasped and turned around. "Did you hear that?" Tom nodded, his face serious. "I heard it. It's close. The tapping moved again, this time to the far end of the attic. Tom shined the flashlight in that direction, but they saw nothing. "This is impossible," Anna whispered. Tom tried to stay calm. "It's just a sound." "We'll figure it out," he said, but his voice was tense. Anna stepped closer to him. What if it's not something normal?" she asked. Tom looked at her and forced a smile. "Don't scare yourself," he said. "There's always a reason for these things." The sound stopped again, and the silence felt even heavier. Anna looked at the ceiling. "It's so strange." "It moves, but there's nothing here," she said. Tom took a deep breath. "Maybe it's the wind," he said, but he didn't sound convinced. Anna shook her head. "The windows are closed. There's no wind." Tom walked to the middle of the attic and stood still. "Let's listen again," he said. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the tapping came back. It was slow and steady, like something knocking on the floor. Anna grabbed Tom's arm. "It's here," she said. Tom moved the flashlight quickly, trying to find the source. But there was nothing there, only dust and shadows. Anna's heart was racing. "What do we do?" she asked. Tom hesitated. "I think we should go back downstairs," he said finally. Anna nodded. "Yes, let's go," she said. They started walking back to the stairs, but the sound followed them. It was as if something was moving with them, step by step. Anna looked over her shoulder. "It's behind us," she whispered. Tom didn't stop. "Just keep walking," he said. When they reached the stairs, the sound stopped again. They turned around and looked at the attic one last time. It was dark and still, but the feeling of being watched didn't go away. Tom turned off the flashlight. "Let's go," he said. Tom and Anna walked down the stairs carefully. The attic door creaked as they closed it behind them. The hallway felt warmer, but Anna still looked uneasy. "What was that?" Anna asked softly. Tom shook his head. "I don't know," he admitted. "But it's probably nothing serious." Anna frowned. "It didn't feel like nothing," she said. "The sound moved. It wasn't in one place." Tom sighed. "Let's check the windows. Maybe there's an explanation." They walked to the living room. Tom opened a window and looked outside. The street was empty and the trees were still. "It's so quiet," he said. Anna looked at another window. It was closed, but when she touched it, it moved slightly. "Tom, come here," she said. Tom walked over. "What is it?" he asked. Anna pointed to the window frame. "It's loose. When the wind blows, it makes a tapping sound," she explained. Tom pushed the window lightly, and it made a soft tapping noise. He smiled. "You were right. It wasn't a mouse or something scary. It was just this window," he said. Anna let out a small laugh. "I can't believe it," she said. "We were so scared for nothing." Tom nodded. "Sometimes small things seem big in the dark," he said. Anna still looked at the attic door. "But what about the sound moving? It felt like it followed us," she said. Tom shrugged. "Maybe it was just our imagination," he said. "The mind plays tricks when you're nervous." Anna smiled a little. "Maybe," she said, "but it was still creepy." Tom laughed. "It was a little creepy," he admitted, "but now we know the truth." Anna nodded and looked around the room. It felt safe again. "Thanks for helping me, Tom," she said. Tom smiled. "No problem. That's what brothers are for," he said. The two of them sat on the couch, and the house was quiet again. But as Anna looked out the window, she thought about the attic. It was just the wind, she told herself, right? Tom yawned and stood up. "Well, I'm going to bed," he said. "Good night, Anna." "Good night," Anna replied. She watched him walk down the hallway. For a moment, everything was still. But just as Anna turned off the lights, she thought she heard it, the same tapping sound, soft and distant, coming from above. She froze for a second, then shook her head. "It's just the wind," she whispered. She walked to her room and closed the door. But deep down, she wasn't so sure.